frozen and so better leave. I'ma swap it for time and that's take it for me. More jittery bass in 2 days, I'm on 3, I'm gone. I don't mean no control. Cappuccino to tone. I don't mean a song. Stack it up, stack it up.
Oh, shit. What's up, gang? My fellow degenerates. Welcome back to your favorite show and mine, The Pit. With me, as always, is RT. How's it going in Twinland, RT?
Tiring, but good. Was at a wedding last weekend, so we got out of the house, got fucked up.
Nice. Well, that's
Yeah.
a nice break from the CIA torture that is dealing with very newborns. And then we've got a very special guest today, dude. Just banger guest after banger guest, and this is no exception. We say this about all our guests, but this is one very special guest this time. Ladies and gents, please welcome RunnerXBT. How's it going, Runner?
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm good. How about you guys?
Dude, doing nice. You know,
Pretty
feeling
good.
the flow.
Yeah, ready for the stream pump. Stream pump? Stream pump.
It's normally stream dump. You know, Thursday, 1 to 2 p.m. is the most negative hour of the week for Bitcoin historically. And thus
maybe we front run it earlier today, a few hours ago. So
yeah, we already had a nice little dumperino. So we'll see.
Yeah. Putting in a low time frame, higher low. Let's find out.
Yeah, but we can get into a little bit of a market overview, dude. What RT, you want to lead here? I know you paying a little more attention to the charts than I am lately.
You say that, but you know it's not true.
Yeah, I just assume based on my lower activity.
Yeah, I mean, look, Bitcoin's ranging. It's still ranging. Range lows are for buying. Range highs are for selling. I think that's a good rule to stick to. But if there was ever a time for the range low to get blown out and lose the range, this probably feels like the one just because we swept the shit out of the highs last time. Took all the liquidity. But there was liquidity waiting up there before when we came down. Now it's gone. So these range lows, you know, as the range progresses, each one becomes a little bit riskier. We're pretty late in the range here for me, for my taste. But zooming out, I'm not too worried about the downside. You know, I think it could be short-lived. In the realm of 3 weeks, it'll feel like forever for a lot of coins if we lose these ranges and just drip back into higher lows town. But I'm fully invested and I'm not fucking selling. But like for some of my spot positions, I'm not really watching too close anymore. Ethereum, actually, I was watching one of Josh O's streams the other day, just skimmed through it. And if you look at Ethereum high time frame, it's just got this kind of like nice ascending triangle that's coming to an apex if you check the daily. And it's not in a rush at all to get out of there. You know, if you just draw like a trend line along the bottom and then like a flat top. So we're getting into that apex, and there's room to get down into like that high 17s, low 18s, where I'm not really worried at all. In fact, I don't have a huge Ethereum position, so I might look to increase there. But yeah, like a flat top. But anyways,
so flat top. You mean like
flat top? Yeah, like going back to old supports, resistances.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's a very loose idea, but the point is, I'm not expecting a whole lot from the market this summer. Let's put it that way. You know, I think a break of these range. You know, I think a dump before any major moves up makes the most sense. But again, we're in a range, so there's no real good trade to take down here unless you're just trying to long it against the lows.
Yeah.
And I'd be curious. I'm not familiar with RunnerXBT's trading style, so I'd be curious because as I get more accustomed to range trading, I am still debating between like my higher low type stuff, where I'd be longing right now. Or like waiting for like blowing out the range low and reclaiming it. And I can't really tell. I don't really have the data to decide which one is more optimal. I think both have their merits. How do you like to trade the range? Do you trade ranges?
No, not really. Specifically, not on Bitcoin and ETH. But I guess like I agree with everything you said, and I guess everybody takes on crypto Twitter has been the same. You know, even though we're below 30K, if we look at those lows from like a few hours ago, I believe it was like yesterday or whatnot, you have the Yeah, right. We have it, I believe. Yeah, the red line. We're still technically at the range low. Like we have not made a new low yet. We did not see some like sort of acceleration in selling and like massive liquidation cascade. So even though it looks pretty shit right here, I believe there's no reason to be panicking just yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since probably 4 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, I've been being pretty religious about marking out Monday's OHLC, just because it's been kind of goated just buying reclaims of Monday lows and selling or shorting deviations above Monday's high. And this week is no exception for that. Little bit trickier on lower time frames, because like you could have bought this reclaim here on Tuesday and then sort of seen this rejection at this sort of higher time frame mid-range and just been like, this is going all the way back down. But sure enough, it made its way to Monday high. And then here we are again, back at Monday's low.
Yeah. I love that, dude. For 2 weeks I traded that with you and it was great. And then I kind of like, babies happened and I've not been marking those out, but that's really the best way to trade this summer shit. And it's been killing it for you. Yeah,
it's been good. I definitely took a break from it during that sort of month where I was heavy wage cucking, but yeah, I'm back at it and I'm hoping I don't get effed on it this time. So that's where I'm at.
In regards to this range, one thing to consider, like I don't want to turn this into macro LARPing podcast, because that's not what I do for sure.
Dude, you're talking to the macro LARP of macro LARPs right now, dude.
Oh, perfect. So we we had the little sell-off in TradFi today with, dollar rallying and whatnot. But so the question then is like, is today's sell-off in crypto, is it like, is it just a correlation? Is it weakness? It's one of those. Because also betting on TradFi, I know you're on 5-minute chart, but if you open like NASDAQ on daily, it's like, to me, definition of a bull run chart. Or even S&P 500, like a daily chart is just literally up only. So you cannot even see the red candle of today. So in that type of structure, I think it's pretty difficult to be the person saying, "Oh, this is the top here," because I've seen those stakes on crypto Twitter or like whatever on the internet, dude, since beginning of the year, and like
graveyards filled with people calling the S&P top all summer.
I'm one of them. So a few days ago I posted NASDAQ top. I'm manifesting. So if it's right, I'm gonna definitely claim clout a few years later.
Understanding market structure is so critical. It's 80% of the time markets are ranging. And trying to call the end of a trend before it forms is typically net negative. And I it's funny you brought that up, because I pulled up the chart today and you feel it though, right? You feel it every dip. You're like, that was it. And then it pulls higher and then it's like, that was it, because there's this disbelief is the psychology phase right now, right? Where, we can't have nice things when shit's going up. It must be coming to an end soon because this is ridiculous. Like that's the kind of almost subconscious mentality that we're seeing and feeling. I imagine I'm not alone in that, but objectively, higher lows, higher highs, and until that shifts on a daily time frame, at least, I don't really want to fade it. I trade Bitcoin though, so in that sense, we are just ranging, weekly uptrend, daily range.
I trade Bitcoin, so I'm a masochist.
Yeah, I like pain. I'm not too worried about what the S&P is doing, because it goes up without us all the time and it dumps without us all the time. I'm not a big correlator.
It's been going up without us a lot lately.
Yeah. I know the crypto stocks have been killing it.
Yeah, dude, MicroStrategy's outperforming Bitcoin most days. It's insane.
Yeah. And that really, while we're on the topic, that speaks to me to this concept of like the regulation and the rails coming in. Like there's so much money out there that would probably love to get a taste of crypto and they can't necessarily have it. And so they're buying up the proxies and then we're seeing that outperformance. So if anything, I think that's an indicator of what the world might look like if we get these regulatory rails in place, which is not a short-term fix, but it's that thesis we have that like regulation's not really bad. It's surely a nice narrative when you're going to have a bear market, which we were pretty much destined to have after the collapses. And as that was all happening, the cycles continue. But to me, it speaks to like underlying strength of the sector. And it's just that the money can't get in right now.
Okay, the cops. Dude likes regulation. What the hell?
I like number go up, and there's a lot
She's
more
like,
money on the
"Tutu, you forgot
outside.
to assign us homework." No.
There's a lot more money outside of crypto than inside, and it's trying to get in, and it's getting in through these stocks that are outperforming the actual
Yeah, that's
assets
true.
that they
Yeah.
pretend to.
It's an astute observation, sir. I just wanted to do a little quick learning corner. This right here is a stick open on S&P, and I love these when equities are highly correlated to crypto because they're tradable. When you get a stick open, they tend to close whatever gaps above and then just revert. And this is a textbook example of it today. You had, reaching up towards the gap and then just sell off ever since. So if you paid a lot of attention to equities, look for stick opens because they tend to they create the wick one way or another. But yeah, so Runner, you're an order flow guy, is that correct?
Yeah, it's a popular creme de la creme type of trading right now.
Are you an exochart daddy?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not really. I've been using Velodata or Coinalyze before.
Okay.
I'm not affiliated with anybody. I use both.
Cool.
So I mean, the difference is in Hxro, it's paid service, so bear market things. No, but most importantly, they don't really have. If I'm not mistaken, I don't wanna say something that's not true, but if I'm not mistaken, they don't really have all the altcoins for all the exchanges.
No.
So I basically in like Velo or Coinalyze, I see basically they're quick to, like I don't know, one of the metas we've been trading is new Binance listings. They get a lot of attention, so they are very fast to list new shit. That's getting basically obviously futures on, for example, Binance, Bybit, or whatnot. And on Hxro, it might take a longer time. So yeah, that's one of the reasons.
So what are your main tools when you're using order flow for? Well, first of all, are you using order flow on a higher time frame? Or are you looking for low time frame opportunities with it?
No, I usually sit on 1 minute chart most of the day.
Yeah, my guy.
But like I want to say to begin with, it's like order flow is like this. Let's say a lot of people are familiar with TA, right? Levels, FA, whatnot, and then they see, for example, order flow isn't that all that special, but maybe they see market profile, volume profile. It looks like fucking jigsaw puzzle, and it's like they assume it's some alpha or like, wow, this looks difficult, must be true.
Yeah,
it just like helps a bit, I believe, in context on lower time frames. If anything, it unfortunately doesn't really help with your win rate. So I think it's nice to know. Nice to know basics and understand. Maybe use it in your system, but it's even though it's very cool and very popular, and I guess that's why my account grew so quickly. But it's not magic, it doesn't cure cancer yet. So
yeah, I saw a Galaxy Brain meme that was like indicators, price action, order flow, price action, indicators. So like, that's the journey of a trader. But yeah, no, I love using Coinalyze for Confluence when I'm scalp, especially with shit coins, dude. Like, the best signals I've ever gotten from OI and liquidations has been like on say Render over the past year using Coinalyze. What are your main tools that you're pulling up on Coinalyze to get signal?
Well, like if you're really looking for super low time frame trades, so I guess one of the staples would be your liquidation cascade fading, basically. Mm-hmm. So if there is a very big short liquidation, you want to short on that liquidation, if that makes sense. You want to enter when the basically offside shorts are puking. I believe that's one of my most popular videos I've made. So yeah, that's like, that's so easy to say it like this when we're sitting here chilling. I'm drinking a beer here on the side after a decent day of trading, but like that means you sit at your damn computer all day long, and when the trade opportunity actually comes on some of these altcoins, it might not come all day. So it's like easier said than done, and it sounds so fancy, but it's so fucking boring. You just sit at a chart and waiting for for Jesus to come, and it's just not coming. So on Twitter, it all looks
I think
like
an apt analogy.
So
yeah, an apt analogy that I've been using lately is like seal fishing. I don't know if you guys.
It's just like seal fishing. Everyone knows
our northern Canadian friends. You see them just laying on the ice next to a hole for maybe 12 hours, and a seal will pop its head up and it'll see you and it's gone. And if you're not focused and awake and there, and so like that's a lot of trading on the lower time frame stuff. It's like the patience could be in investing, and then it's like, okay, do something else for 2 years or 6 months. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, you literally just sit there waiting with your spear, and you can blink and miss it. Last Thursday, right before the XRP news, I went to the driving range because I spent 4 hours on my computer that morning and it was boring. I was like, okay, I got some trades. I'll wait till setups come in, whatever. And then I hit the driving range. And as soon as I arrived, I looked at my phone and it was like 10 minutes old news. And I was like, and I didn't have my mobile app trading because we can't trade on cool exchanges anymore. So yeah, I missed the seal.
Yeah. Well, Runner, I started out last bull run. I'm actually a 2 cycles ago child, but in last bull run I was mainly like FA investor or on-chain staking, yield farming, and made the switch towards like the beginning of the bear to trading, and I cut my teeth on lick fading, specifically on BTC with Agger. So I'm very familiar with this process. I've actually been trying to convince people. Well, there's been an argument in our Discord about like, if you have a small port, what's better? What's the best way to trade to get it up? And I was like, lowest risk, best risk profile is just very strict lick fading. And everyone was like, no, shit coins. No, it's yield farming. No, it's airdrop farming. And I was like, if time's a factor, literally just learn to lick fade and then just be very patient. Because like, yeah, it's the most mechanical trade I've sort of ever come across. And when I'm having a bad, week trading, I'll just go back to lick fading to get the confidence back up. Is that mainly what you focus on, is just fading lick cascades?
I used to. I sometimes feel like it's like weather changing in a bit. Sometimes I just feel like doing one thing, sometimes something else. And sometimes it feels like, let's say I'm sitting at a computer for maybe only, Jesus, I'm being very modest, 6 to 8 hours a day, but I take more trades than days when I'm like almost sleeping in my computer. So it really depends. It really depends because like when big narratives come up, like for example, XRP, as you mentioned, to me, it's still like my baby right now. Then it's very different than I don't do anything, just the XRP. I'm literally obsessed with the coin. So with the smaller, I think it's also important to define what is smaller portfolio. Maybe for someone, you guys said you're from, at least one of you said you're from Canada, right? So like cost of living and wages and everything and whatnot is very different to, let's say, maybe someone from even Eastern Europe or Southeast Asia. So what is like income, how much you need to make, etc., etc. But obviously airdrops, it's not my niche, but I'm sure people with Arbitrum airdrop could have multiplied their like trading stack essentially. If they, let's say, have 2K to their name and they farmed everything, did everything right, they got what, like 2 to 5K from Arbitrum airdrop. So
per wallet.
Yeah. So I think it's it's, let's say, if you tell me to do anything on chain, I'm gonna go in the corner and start crying. Like I'm not this confident guy, cocky at times, borderline arrogant on Twitter when I know what I'm doing. But when you put me out of my comfort zone, I'm like, Googling, am I doing this right? Asking my friends in Discord, like, which slippage should I use? So like, if somebody feels comfortable, this regardless of the portfolio size, I think it should be focused like what they really like and where they feel comfortable instead of trying to be good at everything.
Yeah.
So if people
That's
like
really the
liquidation
key.
fading, then please be my guest. If they like, I don't know, copy trading someone on chain, not my thing, but please be my guest. I know a lot of people who made a lot of money on chain, and whenever I touch on chain, I just lose money. So
yeah, that's really the thing people need to start with when they get into this stuff, is like figure out what works for you. And that's where Twitter can fuck you up, and why I usually recommend staying away is, as somebody who's new, is like, yeah, you gotta start there, maybe get a sense of what's going on, but at the end of the day, some of the stuff that these guys are doing is just not going to work for you,
dude. I've caught that.
You don't have the right temperament, you don't have the right risk profile, whatever it is, and like you typically have to learn the hard way what works and doesn't. And that's why starting small is ideal when you have your hard-earned cash at risk.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that. Having a trade, that I mapped out myself. I scoped out myself. I didn't take anyone else's signals. I did it myself, and then go on the timeline to seek confluence or what other people think. And like the moment I do that, trade's fucked. Like it's over, dude. Just close out now.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, like over the last few weeks, I've made a conscious effort to stay off of Twitter. Someone posted actually on Twitter, that makes this kind of bad, but someone says like, dude, just get your levels, get your system, and be a fucking hermit. Don't even read anything anyone else says about trades while you're trading. And that's definitely been nicer over the last few weeks to just sort of be in here with my system and not care about that, you know.
But it's natural,
You have
right?
to be
You go
confident,
online.
yeah.
You go online and you seek for confirmation bias. Like maybe you don't trust. So essentially the problem is you, right? You don't trust your own idea. So you go online and you just seek stuff that's going to validate your like, the yes man online. And then
it's, you know what it is? It's just willfully damning your execution, right? Because you're like, you're now going to manage the trade differently than you otherwise would have because you have this opinion of someone else, right? So yeah,
if you want to short CFX at the exact high, don't ask anybody what they think about that idea.
Oh God, I ruined a banger trade for you.
I let that happen this year, and I'll always hold a dear spot for you in my heart.
Dude, Chinese Ethereum to $100. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So Runner, you've been XRP is your darling. It's your dance partner lately. Tell us about how it all started. When did you guys meet?
Well, to me, I'm a type of person who like likes to do one night stands with these coins. But me and XRP are going out like pretty often. No, sorry, such a shitty metaphor.
Going steady, dude. You gave XRP your pledge pin.
But I look at altcoins or like these narratives or play very simply. I love narratives that have a very specific date/deadline. So let's say if there's let's say a lot of people are expecting something to happen with certain project in Q4. Bro, Q4 is like 90 days plus minus 2 days. Like, how do you time this, right? There's so many things. But if I know something is coming September 21st, this and this and that. So XRP, to circle back, we didn't really know when is stuff going to happen because I actually made a video like 5 months ago. When if you look at like XRP daily, you will see on the chart during last like 365 days, some of these run-ups are basically people like the community on their Reddit, on their YouTube. They're basically expecting Judge Torres to give the like positive.
Right. These are rumor pumps, right?
Yeah, exactly. It happened several times. I faded all of them. So then now this thing happened on whatever it was Thursday. We 2x'd. That was pretty easy, like sell off. But then so several things in terms of like I love to look at like timelines, right? So we have beating SEC. Let's not get into the lawyer thing. Let's think from the perspective of the bag holder of someone who's holding XRP for 5 years now.
Right.
So what's the next big thing? Potential relisting on US-based exchanges, because when the lawsuit happened, Coinbase, everybody delisted them. So a lot of big part of the retail is from state. They couldn't quote unquote buy anywhere.
Wait. How soon after this candle are you in your mind going like, okay, here's the list of second order events?
Immediately.
That's fucking cool, dude. Yeah.
But because these things like really kind of, how do you say, like repeat, it's not really like you said you're fading like stick open. For me with these altcoins, like I'm thinking, so
right,
Cardano,
you've seen it before. So it's like, yeah.
So think of Cardano, right? The best thing a crypto project can do is overpromise and never deliver.
Yeah, you're right.
So like Cardano smart contracts, look, I'm not going to get into fight with people. That's the appeal of something like, oh, no, wait, when they actually launch. So they have all these upgrades named after like Renaissance people or whatnot with Cardano. It's like a movie or like a series, the people have something to look up for, like, oh, it's coming, bro. Are you ready? So with XRP, the big next thing was this SEC lawsuit. And then like potential Coinbase relisting. Okay, so it's like, you have your like all-time high moment, like your peak in terms of like the story. How can XRP, in my mind, in the short term, peak this? How can they beat this triumph? That's like the highest positive news you could get. So it sold
Yeah.
off pretty aggressively from whatever 95 to like 68 with Bitcoin and everything. But then I noticed on 17th or 18th a very strong bid. Like the XRP, like if you go on like 30-minute chart or 1 hour, you will see like it was getting bought up pretty hard around your yellow line. So
Yeah.
price is not doing much, but I'm like, it's like somebody's buying, right? So I was tweeting like a madman, and then you see the run up from like 72 to 85. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck is happening? Because we have a lot of volumes, order flow looking super bullish. I really focus a lot on Korean exchange called Ababit, because these people are just next level degenerate. Like
Yeah,
Koreans,
Koreans, man.
they doing
They
like
go
more
wild.
volume than the Binance spot. That's why I care. If they did like 50 mil daily volume and Binance 500, I would not care. But if they're doing more volume than Binance spot, so I'm like, immediate reaction. So what's happening? Is it the community being very slow, or am I missing something? So I started digging a bit deeper, and to my surprise, XRP community, if you just put no, I don't recommend this, not financial advice. Do not put XRP in your YouTube search. Then algo will hunt you forever, but you will see like a million videos. XRP 300% pump coming. Why?
Yeah.
Like there's this thing called Fed Now. I don't know, guys, if you ever heard that, but that's like a payment system like upgrade that is literally from Fed. So that's
Just
why
heard
it's
about it
called
today,
Fed Now.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So long story short, Ripple, the company, partnered with a company, I just forgot the name, Velante, something. I don't quote me on that, but they partnered with a company, and this same company, Velante, partnered with Fed. So people, the community made like association that it's like Ripple, Fed Now partnership confirmed, even though it's like it's like intermediary. It's not really, and Fed Now partner with like 40 companies. So I knew immediately that this is a bullshit pump, and yeah, faded it. So
you will use FA as a proxy for the psychology of your counterparties.
yeah, right. I'm trying to think what is getting the community excited. Like, why is
Right.
somebody buying hundreds of millions of dollars of XRP spot and futures? Like, people just slamming green button. Why? Like, there must be, apart from obviously anticipation of price going up.
Yeah.
So yes,
But
I
even
I
deeper,
need to
you want
know.
to know if the FA is true or not.
Yeah, you must know. At least, is
Yeah,
it true to some extent, or is it complete delusion? Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, is this rally fueled by bullshit? And if so, let's find a short. I like it.
That's hard though, because like for me, like I look at a coin like Render, and it's like in my mind, like this product will never in a million
You
years get
hate
off the
Render.
ground. There's nothing bullish about decentralized GPU rendering in my mind. But despite like the use case not being there, like it continued to just rip, dude. So sometimes like those false narratives can still lead to mania.
The thing is with Render, what was great, I shorted that one as well, is you had the Apple VVDC
Right.
conference. So you
Very
had like,
specific date on which
yeah,
this all should start to crater. Yeah, I was right there with
exactly.
you, dude. Yeah.
So like, let's say if you're long, doesn't matter if you like it or not, right? I think like our personal opinions do not matter. It's obviously, I'm biased. Let's say if I'm already short or want to short, the same confirmation bias I was mentioning earlier, I'm going to look for arguments why it's bullshit. But I try to actually like, I went to YouTube, went in 2x speed to watch these videos. So I barely hear, but I wanted to hear like the arguments. And if the arguments is like Fed, like a literal governmental agency that is not far from suing XRP, is now going to supposedly use XRP and put it on their balance sheet. It's just like, I know it's total bullshit. So some of the arguments were like literally that US banks are going to put XRP on their balance sheet. And I'm like, okay, I'm sold. Like, you need a helmet, you need to wear a helmet.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's been the narrative for the Ripple army for a long time, is that like no other crypto is well suited for fast payments and processing and secure payments, and you need something a little bit centralized, a little bit more tooled for that, and Ripple is it. Like that was always the sort of going back to like 2020, I was having arguments with a Ripple head about this. So this is just, I guess, the latest iteration of that argument.
You want to hear what fucked me up though? Is a month ago, I was hanging out with my brother-in-law, and he's in like payment processing. He works for a company that does payment processing in finance. And I said, like, do you guys accept USDC yet? Like, are you guys breaking into crypto and all that? And he's like, yeah, we just set up like a payment rail using a blockchain company. And I was like, let me guess, Ripple. And I'd like, as a joke. And he's like, yeah, actually we're using Ripple.
How'd
I was
you
like,
know
shut
that?
the fuck up.
Yeah.
I was like, shut up. So, you know, for all the hate it gets, this was an out of the dark, not a crypto guy. And I just asked him and he's like, yeah, we're using Ripple for payment settlement. And I was like, oh,
Right. Yeah, there's an element of truth to it in terms of
Would've
like
been cool if
how
I bought
Ripple's
it.
tooled. But yeah.
But then my follow-up question would be, I think Ripple and the technology and the infrastructure they have, even though I didn't do that big of a DD, I'm pretty sure it's fucking solid. Like, that's why they're getting the partnerships. That's why they're still here with such a market cap. But the very simple question is, what part in it takes, like, how important is the actual XRP token in the equation?
right.
Because we
Yeah.
had Visa and MasterCard using Ethereum blockchain for whatnot in last bull run, and it didn't really reflect to, you know, like ETH becoming 10% a year deflationary. Like, so you have this narrative, and I
Yeah.
think it's super bullish for, let's say if the Ripple company goes for IPO, which it might go with this lawsuit, you know, like that would be bullish for the maybe
Totally.
stock or whatnot, not the token.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The token is used to do the movement, and then they swap it on either end for, because I kind of asked him about it too. I was like, he's like, yeah, like the Ripple moves the value,
Yeah,
or
it's like a
XRP
voucher,
moves the
right?
value, and then on the other side it translates to like whatever currency they needed. And but I mean, there's just so many Ripple or XRPs out there, and I mean, it's shady through and through. The one thing I liked trading it is it's very liquid and it moves hard when it does. So I didn't catch this particular move, but I have always enjoyed trading Ripple.
I've found over the last year, especially, I've learned this or become more comfy with this fact, is that like there is a handful or a percent of tokens where the supply and demand dynamics are impacted by the utility of the token, and everything else is just a fundraising mechanism that has been glorified because of like hype and mania. And it's important to know like which one you're in if your main argument is that like, oh, this token's going to be bought up and needed for any particular reason.
Yeah, fair. Like, I guess as a traders, we kind of already going too deep. But you ask about my baby in a way, like I try to understand what my counterparty is thinking, even though if I do or do not agree, and if to some merit it has value, because, you know, you could have shorted, I don't know, what it was, it like 70 cents or, and I mean, you could hold, I don't know, everybody's risk management and validations or whatnot, but like you kind of have to, like, the easy short in a way was, or not easy, but the best risk reward was waiting to actual launch of the Fed now thing, which for me was relatively early morning as a European.
It was today.
Yes, sir. It already happened.
Wow. So this is like the disappointment and
yeah.
And if you drop a short reload zone, that's exactly probably the 702.
Yeah, you know, I mapped this out right before stream, but here's your high time frame range, and it's pretty remarkable how range quarter and range eighth were actionable here. You know, both the deviation here and the deviation here was pretty danged actionable. But yeah, I like you, I try to go mostly with mechanical or order flow based reasons for my trades. But I find that just range, almost any range, like interaction with ranges that are not defined like arbitrarily, is like my main point of confluence. Like you know, just having ranges on my chart helps me a lot with decision making, and certainly would have here, but I just played this pump and got out. So what's next for XRP, dude? What are you thinking?
So if you could please, sorry to give you instructions like this, if you could put XRP but on Bitstamp chart, because it has longer history.
Okay.
So yeah, the third one, and you'd put like weekly.
Okay.
And if you zoom in a little bit, so you'll see like the pre-breakdown candle, what was it, 2020? You see we have these late 2020. No. If Yeah. So it's like January year 2022. So still a bit to the right. You're
2020.
no 2022.
Oh, okay,
So
gotcha.
a bit to the right still. Yeah, the
Right
breakdown. Yeah, right. So you see that level, that like weekly pre-breakdown level or whatnot you want to call it. So I believe it's around 85 to 90 rate, or the one to the right. So you can kind of freestyle, but to me that was kind of a higher time frame
Let's
shelling
just do
point.
this real quick.
Yes. Basically that's what I have.
That's what you're looking for. Yeah, and you got the bearish retest there as well.
Exactly. So I'm not really like a TA trader, but for Confluence, I fully agree. That was like, that was basically in terms of scaling to a short. This is a level I want to see. Like, how is it going to react? If it's like blasts through and then flips it as a support, then maybe the short idea is wrong. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I know it's
yeah.
such a wide, like it's a lot of percentage. So if somebody here scalping like super tiny ranges, he might be like shaking his head, saying like, "What is this guy even saying on the stream?" But this level never really touched or
Yeah,
flipped.
it's interesting because like we've on Bitcoin, for instance, like one thing I've been looking at a lot is like, here's your bull market range. And to me, it's like anything that's not like finding acceptance on high time frames below this, or probably even better to go with bodies. Like, okay, it's not really that exciting yet until it's in this range. And like, look at what XRP did the second it got into its sort of bull market range. It's insane. Like, here's your level, capped all upside for most of the bear market. And then as soon as it got into it, it's like halfway through it.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
The teleport.
Yeah.
like I guess a lot of people would look at this price action. So price action traders would call the move inefficient, right? On the left side as well, we just went from your yellow box to whatever, like 40 cents on the, like when we dumped. So we just kind of filled the same inefficiency.
Yeah. Here's your FVG ICSV trade.
That's why I find these Bitcoin range lows interesting, because
Speaking of which,
if we are
it.
consolidating below this big resistance, as you just pointed out, and the teleport would be the logical resolution of that resistance above, then these range lows become very compelling for me as a trader who's like hunting for some length in the market. I totally see the 28.5 levels and some bigger dumps coming before the move, and that's typical. And I'm prepared to eat shit a couple times to try to catch this move, but I'm pretty confident in my positioning for the next however many months that we're going to get up into that range above 32. And so I want to be long into that. And so I've been hunting longs along these range lows. I'll be hunting 28.5, and I think for that exact reason, because like you said, once we do break through that, it should be like, okay, we're off to the races. That's it.
If we get above 32.38, this top of this range here, without it just deviating immediately, like I really do feel like it's a teleportation moment, but I don't expect it to come until next year.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not going to sit back and try to nail the timing as much as just like identifying levels where I want to get long. It's very tempting to get on the train up at the highs here, as many people probably experienced over the last month, but it's really these range lows in this moment of fear, whether these these could nuke, and then we let it clean up a bit and look for that dip. But yeah, the move, the one trade I'm trying to catch is the important one, is that higher time frame push up. And so getting a little tactical here at range lows, thinking about how to do that.
Dude, I'll buy range lows every day. I might get wrecked, but I'll buy it.
Yeah, it works until it doesn't. It's been working great all summer, and that's typically when you get a little nervous. You're like, okay, this range is going to bust eventually, but it's that expansion to the upside, dude. That's going to be so sexy.
I think it was Andrew Kang who said like the old meta was like Burj Khalifa blow off top into bear market, and the new meta is like flat consolidation at key levels into nuke, into breaking that to the upside, basically like what ICT guys would call a PO3. And it's true, like this has been the meta. Like we got the consolidation at the 24 level, like couldn't break 24. Then we got the dump and then shoot up and consolidate at 25. Then the dump, then shoot up and consolidate here, you know, between 29 and 26. So yeah, like it's sort of like you start to get a sense that like this is how this asset is behaving now. Like your pumps are capped with months long consolidations, and usually those resolve into a dump before you see like a pretty aggressive upside.
There's a reason you call this year the washing machine cycle.
Yeah.
You know, you get your down move. It usually happens pretty fast. It took a year in this case, as it actually does seem to every time with Bitcoin. And then you get the washing machine cycle, which is like, you know, up, down, wash you out, make you sick of this stuff. And then you get a resumed trend upwards typically. Yeah. That's how it's always been. I don't expect it to be different this time. Nothing fundamentally about this stuff tells me it's going to be different this time in a directional sense. So yeah, I'm just hunting that. And like, I am trading this range low from the sweep the other day, but like I fully expect it to get blown out before the move I'm trying to catch. And you can feel it too right now in the air. Like people are ready to puke all their bags if we lose this range low. And
yeah,
that should culminate in the move to buy.
Yeah, agreed. So Runner, you were saying that sort of pre-breakdown level, you're looking to find equitable shorts from there, right?
Yeah, like how I look at these trades or rotations is, so as I said, even like that was one of the arguments of the XRP bulls or community backholders, community members, however you want to call them, is that XRP for many days was doing more volume than like most altcoins or like any coins or on Binance, or a bit, or you know, like the leading volume in terms of volume exchanges. So I just expect after today to these volumes to sort of some of the attention rotate elsewhere. So how I look at some of these trades is, if it nukes today and I might take profit hits, voila, you know, I will not complain. But I just expect it to like on relative basis to become weaker now than it was like last few days. It's just the strongest coin with Stellar Lumen. So yeah, that's basically how I see it. So in theory, just a very easy example, you can be short, like not financial advice, just giving example of like some of these rotations. You short this quote unquote weak or exhausted narrative, which in my case, in my opinion, it might be XRP at certain levels, or here, doesn't matter. And long something new if you want to kind of hedge. So basically, you're technically pair trading essentially.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. So you should basically, what you're saying, like an upside narrative is toast. Like, okay, I feel that it's toast, but there's no specific dates in this case to recommend that. So I'm going to hedge out some of that short exposure with something else just in case whole market pumps.
Right. So how I see it with XRP, so we had this Fed Now thing, which I think the community of XRP, I've been kind of shitting on them. So let me continue, but very briefly, I promise. Is
dude, those poor guys, they can't catch a break.
But like these communities tend to take some time to digest some news, right? So the people watching the videos with Fed Now, like even though Fed Now already launched, they might not know that it's, you know, I'll give them a few more days to let that sink in. And we'll see the reaction. I'll see it in the volumes, you know, if people are still max bidding or not. And the big issue with XRP is that SEC still might make a move. I know that's such a weird thing to say from my point, like because I cannot bet on it. But basically, if anything, Gary or SEC does anything XRP, they can appeal in the court or whatnot.
Right.
They should appeal. It doesn't make any sense that they wouldn't appeal it.
Yeah.
Well, then XRP longs are fucked, right? It's like
yeah. What did the judge say? He was like, this is not a security, but when it was traded in this specific way, it was a security. Like there's no way that doesn't get challenged. Like that's pretty flimsy IMO from a logical standpoint.
Well, you know, I'm short, so anything I say will be like, again, confirmation bias. But we'll see. Like, it would be really weird, I think, for such a institution to let it slide. You know, such a like public loss in terms of like credibility. They should at least like try to chase the fight. We'll see.
Yeah, it was a huge hit.
It's also like it's the SEC's lawyers, right? Like their job is to win the fucking case. and they're going to use every out that they have to do it. And that next out is
Dude,
an
you know
appeal. So
Gensler's plotting right now. He's rubbing his hands
doesn't-
together.
yeah, they get paid to make the appeal, so they're going to take it.
Yeah.
So we
Although
shall
he's
see.
losing credibility with lawmakers, it seems too. Everyone's kind of tired of old Baldy lately.
I hope so, man. He's so annoying.
Yeah, he's
But
a
then
cool
the
dude.
spot
I really
I
ETF,
watched
right?
him in the Senate yesterday getting grilled, and it's just like hearing him talk for the first time. I was like, ah, this actually.
What did you say, Runner?
Like, look, his like, how do you call it? Like his run, like these guys are elected for a certain period of time, right? They're not there forever. So the moment a new president comes in, like in a year, doesn't matter which one. I'm not gonna go political, but let's say Trump wins or whatnot, he might fire Gensler, right? But by the time we might have a spot ETF for Bitcoin. So there's, I think, a slight chance that like Gensler is this like bad cop for crypto. But like, let's say if they approve Bitcoin ETF, he will like, you know, he will clean his shield and he will leave like a hero for crypto community because number will go up.
Yeah.
So for now, if everybody hates him, but let's say they approve all the ETFs, we rip to 42. I believe you. I promise you, everybody on CT, everybody's like Gensler is a fucking hero.
I've kind of taken the like all the hate Gensler gets. I'm a contrarian by nature, anyways, but I've taken the opposite side. And
You
said,
love Gary Gensler.
I love him, dude. I'm trying to kiss the man's head. No,
Oh, wow.
I just find like the argument is that a lot of people make is that like this isn't fair or this isn't right, and then like you look at the participation and behavior of all of the the people in crypto, and it's like, is he wrong, dude? You're all fucking criminal scammer degenerates. Like, like in what way is he like taking turns out of school here?
Fair.
But yeah, well, enough of that, dude. How do you mainly use narrative, specific dates, things that you can spot where like the time frame is very defined in order to select, what is it? The tackler in Waterboy would pick a running back and say, "There's my bitch." Like, how do you find your bitch?
Yeah, I guess that makes the most sense because I know, like with these things, let's say you have a specific date and you go long or short, you expect a reaction, like you expect price action to behave certain way before and after. So your invalidation is pretty clear. So let's say you expect it to be sell the news, and if it's still mega pumping, then you're probably wrong. I'm very simplifying it, but like for me, it's very simple. So sometimes I buy, let's say if I'm trading TA and I'm buying support, high time frame support, I might buy. I'm like, the price is hovering around my entry. I might get nervous. I sell it break even. And then a few days later, it rips for no reason, So like, I don't know. I have kind of issue holding positions for a long time. I know I need to fix this for the bull run. Otherwise, I'm like not going to make it. But a good solution for that, if maybe somebody watching has the same issue, most exchanges offer something called multi-asset modes or unified margin stuff. So if you're a paper-handed bitch like me, apologies for my French, you can technically use, like, let's say you buy spot Bitcoin, spot ETH. Let's say we go to 20K. I believe that's a good buying opportunity. You buy, let's say for easy mathematics, you buy one Bitcoin. That's all your net worth. Obviously, you have, like, you need to manage your risk because counterparty risk with exchanges. But let's say no FTX moments ever again, or Bitslato, or whatever the exchange was. You have it on your exchange, and you can basically use the Bitcoin as your collateral to trade USDT pairs on perps. So like you're technically long Bitcoin anyways.
Right. Yeah.
So worst case scenario, your Bitcoin, let's say, goes from 20 to 60, you still 3x your dollar. Very simple. Apologies for very ugly version. So that's probably a way to go for me, with me being such a
I really
paper
like
hand.
that. Yeah, that's why I was a sucker for FTX, because you could use your entire portfolio on there as your margin.
Yeah.
And so you could swing trade higher time frame trends and levels with just your base margin to like cash at the highs, back into Bitcoin or whatever at lows, ideally, not the midpoint. And then, and then still be trading, like you say, but not feeling like you're sidelined in cash while you're trying to be, a scalper.
So I've been using this a whole lot. This is oh snap. Wait. Maybe I should disconnect here. Yeah, let me pull this up. So I've been using Mux since KuCoin was cucked with KYC, and I'm not particularly confident that MEXC is gonna continue to be the best exchange in the world for very long. So so I've been using decentralized perps a lot. And Mux, first of all, it's an aggregator, so it's going to take any available, perp provider on Arbitrum or whatever network you're on. And if it can use the best routing with that, then you're trading on gains through MUX, or you're trading on MUX directly, or you're trading on GMX. So I really like that perp aggregator concept, but also multi-asset collateral. So they're going to find where you can use this collateral and give you that option. And then I got my profits in Bitcoin on a lot of my Bitcoin trades for this lately. They'll give you back your collateral. My collateral was DAI, and my profits came in wrapped Bitcoin, which was super cool and a great way to accumulate in preparation for the bull run. Especially if you're like a short time frame trader, you can just take your profits into Bitcoin and call it a day.
That's a nice way
like
to say you're a profitable trader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a debit of 4 wrapped Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I owe.
Do you guys remember when there was like a phase on CT, or it was a very funny FUD? I don't know when exactly it was, but basically people saying that wrapped Bitcoin and wrapped ETH are not fully collateralized and it's all going to collapse. That was a fun one.
Yeah, dude, it was weird to me because I was like, wrapped Bitcoin I get because they're a custodial service in addition to a smart contract, right? So you have to be confident in the custodian for that Bitcoin. But I'm pretty sure it's actually like you're just using like another network, but there is no actual like person who is a custodian. But with wrapped Ether, it's incredibly dumb because it literally is a smart contract, even if you don't know anything about programming smart contracts. Like you can read it pretty transparently what it does. Like, I don't know. I thought it was very weird. But that's enough nerd talk for me. So in terms of, finding coins like this XRP sort of tryst that you've been in, do you usually like find a coin to pick on and then use that for a while? Are you scanning multiple things? Like, how do you get into these sort of engagements?
So, if you're active, I'm sure you guys are, like maybe people watching as well on CT or some of these group chats, it's like stuff pops up all the time. So just like in last 7 days, we had Bitcoin Cash doing well, XRP, XLM, all the other quote unquote non-security SEC coins, which was Cardano, Solana, Matic, HBAR. We had Compound, we had SNX, we had Maker, we had fucking hell, what happened today? Link pumped a lot. We had Doge on this Tesla thing. So it's like so much stuff happening.
Right.
And whenever I try to trade these, like whatever is cool right now, without, as I said, kind of sitting back and reading a bit more, I usually miss all the moves up by the time it happens, but I'm just such a bad like trend chaser. So let's say if I have a thesis with XRP, I'll happily focus on it until it plays out. Because if I have if I take less trades, the position sizing will be much bigger, right? So in terms of even capital allocation, I want to be careful not to go too crazy.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm testing right now. I change a lot over the last few months, but that's what I like. I think this is kind of sustainable with having ability to sleep at night. It's
I like the focus idea. It's hard to maintain focus when you have too many positions. That's actually something I struggle with. So I love that idea.
I used to be like, what are you, a pansy? Like, to that advice of not being in so many trades. But as I evolve or mature as a trader, or maybe regress, not to institute my bias, but I find that less trades is like super calming and easier to focus. And I just
more
end up
successful.
More successful. Someone said in the chat, using volatile assets as collateral sounds super risky, even in a bull. Dude, where were you last bull? I was fucking levered up on like Stake Spell and WMemo and shit with my fucking whole port. Like,
I mean,
it's incredibly risky.
Sam Bankman-Fried,
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean,
look, let's not get it twisted. If you're leverage trading, you're taking the highest kind of risk you can take in crypto. And if you're using volatile assets to collateralize that leverage trading, it is just adding to the fire. So I've been trading 5 years. I'm still not sure that I want to be trading leverage. I think most people should not. I think it's a sexy way, and you get your P&Ls and you get your, you can have a tight range on the 1 minute and make a fat gain on the day. But let's be honest, 95% of the people lose.
During the heat of a full bull, and including in whatever next bull market we get, I just went through I literally logged like 80,000 transactions by hand to create a perfect tax record of last bull market for myself. And essentially what I did was I started off with a base of Try Crypto, which is BTC, ETH, and USDT. My whole net worth is in that. Then that was on Abracadabra, where I'm taking out 60% of that value. And now I have a second portfolio, or a second order portfolio. And I'm like moving a little bit along the risk curve and collateralizing that. So yeah, like, I don't know. I'm probably going to do it again. It just worked out really nice, but these are bull market things. These aren't bear market things. So anyways, okay.
Yeah, I think maybe if I may add to that comment is I agree. Like the thing with a lot of these exchanges obviously will vary from exchange to exchange, but you just want to be using like Bitcoin and ETH in my opinion. And I understand like the point. Let's say we can dump, but for that reason, for example, if my collateral is in Bitcoin, I'm pretty much always CoinM short BTC.
Right.
So I'm trying to, like, in terms of range trading, obviously I'm not going to short at 20K, but if I feel like we're approaching some sort of higher time frame resistance, I'm not going to obviously go leverage, but let's say you have, just for easy numbers, you have 10 Bitcoin account, you can open like, 2-3 Bitcoin short if you feel like, we're approaching resistance. So you're technically sort of, there's like ways to go about it. Like you're
going below 1x is how I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. You don't need leverage. And like, let's say, I know it's maybe a bit advanced for some people, but like if the funding stays, annualized, you get almost 10%, or like it's like 10.8%, assuming the funding stays flat, obviously counterparty risk, etc. But like there's ways to be creative around contracts, using quarterlies and whatnot, CoinM. Yeah. So I think it's very underappreciated tool in crypto, CoinM.
Yeah, it's also like I was talking to RT like a few streams back, and I was like, I mean, you're getting paid to short Bitcoin most of the time. And he was like, well, sometimes. And I was like, no, like 90% of the time, like the funding's positive. And so like almost always you're getting paid to short Bitcoin, especially in a bull market. Like funding's incredibly dislocated. Well, cool, dude. Yeah. So XRP is your main DAMI right now. You mentioned a little bit about the next bull run. First of all, what bull run did you come in on?
Sorry, my mic kind of bugged. I started crypto, like I first heard about it in the BitConnect era, which is, I believe, 2015.
Yep.
Sadly, I was like, I don't know, I'm not going to fool the dogs, but like I was young and I thought, that like, I don't know how much money I could have had back to my name, let's say $500, classic, not much. So I was thinking that's not enough. Biggest mistake of my life. And then whenever COVID happened already, so I think I started buying my first crypto on Revolut in like October, my English right now, October 2020. COVID started March 2020, right? So just like 6 months after.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my first time joining crypto, when I, like I was the guy, even though I literally was trashing the people for 30 minutes, I would go on YouTube, and back then it was as easy as next altcoin to 10x. I bought like Cardano, Cake. Man, I bought like Pancake Swap, even though it's back to zero now. I bought it like below $1.
Yeah, it was a darling of last early bull run.
Yeah, so it was like 50x, and I thought like few weeks in crypto, like I'm such a genius. I'm the next Warren Buffett. I'm like here for a few weeks already. It was pretty like a lot of money, unrealized P&L, and May 2021 happened. I got a bit sober, but yeah, relatively new. This was like my first real bear market for me.
So did you trade before that period in 2020? Like equities or anything?
No. I was doing some like real life business stuff.
Pretty impressive to come from YouTubing the next 10x altcoin in 2020 to now using Coinalyze like liquidation mapping and all that stuff. Like, what's the arc there? When did you decide like I'm going to knuckle down and learn like really specific and advanced tools for trading?
See, I think I'm very fortunate, and my biggest advantage was I had all the time in the world, which in anything in the world, and I'm not turning this into motivational speech, but it's very simple. If you want to get quote unquote better at something, I don't think I'm good at it yet, but I have all the time in the world, so I could sit, like literally study all day, like losing money copy trading CT, and in summer 2020 or 21, fuck, everything blends. 21, I messaged Adam, like Trade on Twitter.
Oh, wow.
One of the best educators. And back then, it was different. Adam had like 5 or 10,000 followers. Now he probably has 100 messages a day. And I even like asked him because he had some discount code for his courses. And I was like, hey man, can you please still give me the discount? I missed it by a few days. Started learning from him, asking questions. He liked the fact that I'm asking questions that make sense, I guess. And then I started a few months later. I started interning for Simple Alpha. I don't know if you know the guy.
Yep. I know Sim. I mean, I don't know him personally, but I know of him.
Yeah, so I used to be his intern, right? And he back in the day used to post a lot of Orderflow as well. So these two guys basically, long story short, without going too deep, these two guys helped me actually. I understood it, but actually turn it into system. So realistically, I have a system for like, I want to say a year now, which sounds crazy, and maybe even people watching like, "Wow, who is this LARP new guy?" So like, but I've been confident. I think it's important to be real with yourself. Like, I know what I'm doing for barely a year now. Before that, I've been in the market for a few years, but literally clueless. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Like, I didn't have a system, so like proper trading system, still like a work in process, and it's always developing anyways, according to market, how it's trading. But now I'm obviously the most confident I've ever been in whatever I'm trying to do.
Yeah, dude. It's I got in on late 2016, early 2017, but really didn't level up until like I bought COVID Crash and then went on chain in like 2021. And literally at the beginning of the bear market, I discovered like went really deep into Atom stuff and discovered in Silico and just like decided I didn't want to suck at this when things were going down. So around the same amount of time as you in terms of like actually knuckling down and like trying to be a decent trader. So I feel that, dude. That's really fortunate that you ended up, under such good tutelage with Adam.
Yeah, well, I'm very grateful, for the opportunities. Even like, it's very fucking weird for me to be invited to like podcasts and shows to talk about markets, like super hard. How do you call it? Like, my English right now. So basically, I believing like, what am I even doing here right now? Or why is anybody asking me for my opinion? Like, sure, I'll share it, but not sure if I should be here. This type of stuff. But yeah,
imposter syndrome.
Yeah, maybe it's source. So it's like it's difficult. With maybe like one advice to people watching is like, it doesn't matter how long people have been in the markets. Obviously, if someone just joined, probably don't know much. With all the respect, maybe even if they traded equities. But just because someone's been here since like 2015 doesn't mean they know a lot. A lot of people just cruising, maybe just paid shilling, so it's like very different. I think just because someone is here for a long time doesn't mean they know what they're talking about.
Totally. Yeah. And like going back through my history through the form of like tax records, it's pretty crazy. Like there's a distinct change from when like I was able to still be profitable, even though I didn't know anything because I knew I didn't know anything. And there was the biggest period of trouble or turmoil was when I thought I knew something, but still didn't. And then also when I learned something and now thought I knew everything. It's only when you're like truly humble that you can like that you can at least like manage and eke out a profit.
It's like when you feel, I like to tweet it often, is like when you feel the most safe, you're the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And time. Like everything is doing well. Let's say you're killing it, your P&L up only, and then there comes one trade which wipes like last few months of whatever you've done.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very humbling and good experience in a way. It's like healing process. So
I 100% agree, dude. Well, thanks for coming on, dude. Thank you for sharing, kind of a little bit of your system and how you look at things. I would love to have you back on in the future and sort of, we've gotten a lot of the history out of the way. We could sort of talk more about present market conditions, especially when things are a bit spicier. But thank you so much, dude.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Absolutely. And if you're watching this and you want to join the pit where we have these kinds of conversations all day, you can go to hxro.com, click the community tab, join the Discord. It's free. And we just hang out and shit talk and post charts. So hope to see you there. And we'll see you guys next week on the pit.
Thank you. Bye.
Chico, got me frozen and so better leave. I'ma swap it for time and that's take it for me. Mo, jittery bass in 2 days, I'm on 3, I'm gone. I don't mean no control. Cappuccino to tone. I don't mean a song. Stack it up, stack it up. Yeah.